Brian, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a while. I think the last time we spoke was about 6 months ago. How's everything been? It's been a crazy year for you.
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, I'm staying in the gym, staying training, fortunate to have training partners still going. So, I just want to be ready to take any opportunities because right now a lot of them are coming up short notice. So I'm just staying ready over here.
Definitely. And in that 6 months that I haven't spoken to you, you took two fights. So what has this year been like for you in terms of being so active?
It's amazing, for what the world is going through and the whole pandemic and everything. I've actually had one of my best years, if not my best year ever in my UFC career. So I've had a great year. I've gotten, a couple bonuses. I've won 3 out of 4 fights, and I've stayed active. And I think, my fan base went up, and I'm actually purchasing a new house coming soon. So everything's been good for me this year so far.
Nice, congratulations. And you've had four
Yeah.
fights this year, I think, isn't it? And one of them was pre-pandemic. What have the differences been? I know obviously you went up a weight class to 145. How have you been? How were you feeling at 145? And how can you sum up, how the differences have been post and pre-pandemic?
Just being able to fight at 145, really, I'm thankful the UFC was willing to do that. I think they understood the circumstances. Training was a little bit different. There was a lot of home workouts going on and stuff like that, and limited partners, but things got a little better as things went on. And, I felt great at 145. Not having to stress the weight cut is like such a big thing for me, not ever have to even think about it, during the whole training camp. All you have to focus on is your training and the fight coming up. So I thought that helped a lot. And then in the cage, I felt strong. I felt powerful. So there were a lot of good things that I took away from that. But now I have to go back down to 135. So I'm a little bit nervous about it because it's been a while, but I think I'll be fine.
How are you making that transition back to 135 when your body has got so used to 145?
Yeah, I never really got too big at 145. I was always kind of hanging around the high 150s. So now I'm in the mid 150s. I'm trying to get to the low 150s just so I can get within range, make it a little bit easier on myself. But now, having a little bit more access to training partners and stuff like that has helped, as well as being on, the trifecta meals with the UFC PI. So that's been a real help as well, too.
Do you see yourself ever going back to 145, or do you think 135 is you, that's where you're going to stay?
I think 135 is good for my height reach, my body frame and stuff like that. Just looking at other featherweights, sometimes, I'm like, there's no way I'm a featherweight, I'm not the smallest bantamweight, but I'm not the biggest bantamweight. So honestly, if there was like a 140 weight class, that would be perfect for me, but I know that'll never happen. So I got to stick to 135 just based off the size differences that I see at featherweight.
And you have a new fight obviously coming up in January, but you've got that whole Thanksgiving and Christmas to get through. What's that going to be like having to get back down to the 135 kind of around that bracket and having to do that around that kind of time?
It's always rough during the holidays, with all the snacks and the cookies around and everything like that. But I'm pretty disciplined all year round, anyways. I don't, I don't. I'm a man of routine. I've been doing this for so many years, so it's not that hard for me to stick to the plan. So I don't think it'll be a big factor. If anything, it kind of motivates me to win my fight, get things done, and then kind of celebrate after and kind of delay the whole Christmas and everything like that. Thanksgiving's not that bad because you could just stick to the turkey and the vegetables and be okay. But all the desserts and stuff like that, I got to stay away from.
Yeah, definitely. And you're rebooked again against Ricky Simone. That was supposed to happen back in September, but obviously he tested positive for COVID. Um,
Yeah.
was this a matchup that you were really keen to get rebooked?
Yeah, I really, once the fight was originally booked, I saw a lot of fans, really excited to see this fight. I think just stylistically, we both, come into the pocket and exchange, and both aggressive fighters looking for the finish. So I think a lot of fans got behind that, and I saw that, and it made me more excited for the fight. So I think now that it's rebooked, it's nice to have it still and be able to fulfill that fight. And I think for me, this is a step up in competition as well. And I think this could put me right back in that spot where I can kind of move up to the top 15 again.
Yeah, and you mentioned a little bit about how he is stylistically. You know, how would you break him down in terms of things that he does well? And have you seen anything that you think maybe, you know, he doesn't do too well in those areas there that I could maybe take advantage of?
Yeah, he's definitely a gritty fighter. He's got a fast pace to him. He likes to wrestle a lot. He's got a good power double, but he's also willing to stay in the pocket and exchange. And I think with me, I think I have more power than he does in that area. And I think he won't want to stay there for too long. He does plant his feet a little bit, and I feel like that's something I could take advantage of. But I could see, he's very well rounded. He likes to mix strikes up with takedowns. But I also feel jujitsu wise, as far as submissions go, I have the advantage there as well.
Yeah, and obviously talking about submissions, you're coming off a really quick submission win in your last bout. I mean, how was that? That must have been pretty, was it 39 seconds? Must have been really
Yeah.
satisfying, especially, you know, given all of the last minute changes you had with opponents.
Yeah, it was a crazy week. I had like three opponents. Like first it was Ricky Simone, he fell through. Then as it got to fight week, I had two. One of them got sick and he got pulled, and then I had the last minute replacement, which I was thankful for. If it wasn't for that guy to step up on short notice to fight me, I would have never got a chance to get a win and get a bonus like I did. So that was awesome. It's always weird finishing a fight like that fast and not getting hit really, and then it's all over, and you're like, all the work I put in, for this quick submission. It always feels a little weird. Like I want to almost get into a fight at least and fulfill that, but it's you can't complain in the end. Take no damage, get a quick win, get a bonus, and be able to get right back in the gym. So it was amazing for me.
And how do you prepare yourself mentally? What was the run up like mentally, not knowing what was going to happen? How do you kind of prepare yourself for, you don't even know who you're going to fight potentially?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of all goes back to just focusing on myself. Sometimes you overthink things, you look too much into your opponent, and what is he going to do? And oh my God, he does this and that. And you get overwhelmed if you keep thinking like that. And I feel like for me, one of the most important things is to stay calm and just focus on myself and what I want to implement in the fight. So I just kept it there. And, it was hard, thinking about, oh, I don't know about this guy who, I have to look him up a little bit. But now you're nervous. You're watching this guy fight, and it's so close to the fight, so it's kind of overwhelming. But I tried to just listen to my coaches and take a step back and just remain calm and just believe in my skills.
Yeah. And Ricky, obviously coming up in January, you know, a lot of his fights, recent fights, have gone to a decision. So, what are you going to be expecting from this fight in January, and how do you see it unfolding in your head?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a high pace fight. I know his last fight with Ray Borg was very high pace, but, Ray Borg's a natural flyweight. I'm a bigger guy, stronger guy. I feel like he was able to kind of bully Ray Borg a little bit in the grappling aspect. And I don't think he's going to be able to do that to me. Even if like he tries, I feel like he'll realize quickly like this is a different strength. I feel strong at even featherweight, so I think bantamweight I feel good there. And I think we're going to exchange, and I think it's going to be a one of those fight of the night type fights where fans are going to be excited and they're going to love watching it. So I can't wait to get in there. And I'm always going for the finish myself. I don't like decisions. These judges these days are a little skeptical, so I'm trying to stay away from that.
Yeah, definitely. And your last walkout music, I have to
Yeah.
ask, how did you come to the decision to walk out to Stone Cold's theme?
Well, growing up, I was like a big wrestling fan. Not so much anymore, but Stone Cold was like my favorite wrestler growing up. And me and my teammates, my coaches were talking about how it would be funny, like coming out to his music would be kind of cool. And it was weird too, because like Stone Cold Steve Austin's from Texas, and the guy who I fought against is from Texas. So it kind of was a weird thing. Like he noticed like I came out to that music, and he told me after. He's like, "Oh, cool walkout song." So I actually did the Stone Cold Stunner to my cornerman, but they didn't catch it on camera at the end of the fight.
Oh, that's a shame. And so it wasn't
Yeah.
intentionally because he was from Texas. It was already in the works that you were going to come out to that song.
It was already in the works. Yeah, it was just like a coincidence that it happened to be like that. But I'm also bald, proud baldy Ed member. So Stone Cold has that in common. So I figured it all kind of made sense.
Yeah, and will you be coming out to that one again in January?
You know what? I always change my song. I always kind of just feel, in the moment. I'll listen to some music leading up to the fight, and something that touches me, that kind of gives me the chills, gives me that energy. Usually is what I come out to. So I'll probably switch it up a little bit, and I'm not really sure if like I'm supposed to use someone else's music like that, or if I'm supposed to ask for it. I don't know. It's too late now, right?
Have you got anything in mind?
you know who I really like is Meek Mill. He's a rapper over, and I get really like amped up from his music for some reason. Just high energy, intense music, and it just gets me fired up. So usually I do come out to one of Meek Mill's songs.
Yeah, cool. And going back to bantamweight, when you look at the landscape of the division, what do you see? What's your kind of opinion on the landscape of things at the moment in bantamweight?
I think bantamweight's on fire right now. I mean, there's a lot of talk about how bantamweight could be probably one of the best divisions right now in the UFC. Cejudo's gone, but he's still chirping on the sidelines. And you got Aljo versus Peter Yan coming up, and I think that fight's delayed to February now. But just at the top of the division, it's all killers. Sandhagen, Marias is fighting Rob Font. Everybody's a killer, really. Even me and Ricky Simone, like we're out of the top 15, but we're both killers that I think a lot of fans are excited to see, and that just goes to show the depth of the division right now.
Yeah, definitely. And what do you think about the upcoming title fight against Petr Yan and Aljamain Sterling? How do you think that goes down?
I'll be honest, I'm a little biased because I'm a New York guy, and so is Aljo. And I came up in fighting with Aljo, actually training with him before we were ever in the UFC. I see him once in a while now. We'll cross train. Now he's in Vegas though, but I'm a fan of Aljo. I think he's earned his shot. He's really made a lot of improvements in his game since losing to Marias, and kind of getting his mental game back, and even improving his aggression in there in the cage. He's looked better than ever as of late. So I think with his level of grappling, if he can get a hold of Petr Yan, it could be a really interesting fight. I think Petr Yan's boxing might have a little bit of an edge over Aljo, but it makes for an amazing fight. I think those are definitely the two best guys in the division right now. So we're gonna see a sick fight with them.
Yeah, definitely. And you've been so active 2020. What do you think 2021 has in store for you?
More bonuses hopefully because I get the new house coming, so I got more bills coming my way. So I'm hoping to put on just really exciting performances, and I feel great. I am 34 years old. I've been in the game for a while, but I think I've always trained smart. And I've always thought about longevity, and I think I fight smart too. Even though I do fight exciting and aggressive, I'm very aware of strikes coming at me. So longevity is a great thing in this sport. That's how you make money and that's how you stay in the game. So I feel like 2021 for me, I'm still in my prime. I want to put a couple of big wins together and make a run. That's always been the dream. So you can't ever lose sight of the dream.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for catching up with me again, and we look forward to seeing your fight in January.
All right. Thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it.